What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the franchise, the flagship show of the Game Time Network. We are coming to you live on another Sunday at noon. It is Game Time Live. Happy to be here today in what is a very emotional week, I guess, for the Game Time Network. Wednesday, we celebrated 1 year of this podcast officially starting, and we started this pod talking about March Madness. Literally the week of the Final Four, and now here we are once again. We have made it to a full year of the Game Time Network, which started on April Fools. So there's a little joke inside of the creation of this show. Started on Zoom, and now we've got graphics, we've got all this, and we're going to talk about all the other stuff that happened for the Game Time Network here in a couple moments. I am joined by my co-host. I'm joined by D-Cot, Daryl Cawthorn, or is his other name known on Bias with the Little Truth, Daryl Bayless. And then we've also got our other co-host, the coach himself, Mr. Ramon Stallings, Coach Ramon in the building. Coach, great to have you in. D-Cot, great to have you in. It feels like I just saw you guys like 24 hours ago.
Because you did.
It was so last night. We've been talking about it on the show. You may have saw the promotional video. We had a wonderful event at our sponsor, Bigsy's Restaurant. I want to give a big shout out to Bigsy's today for hosting us last night at Bigsy's. We had a great show. We gave away some t-shirts. We gave away gift cards. We gave away 3 pairs of Pacer tickets. Obviously, a shout out to Wired to the Nines, Jason Hancock, for coming out, bringing the family, which is also my family, bringing them out. Thank you to Daryl's family, my family, for showing up. Thank you to Crossroads Sports. They came out and supported us as well. And obviously a big thank you to Matt Gaddis, who also unfortunately couldn't make it, but he is sponsoring the show. So a big thank you to Matt Gaddis as well.
First sponsor, by the way. Don't forget, first sponsor, by the way.
But I want to give a big thank you to Bigsy's. They are the latest sponsor for the show. But they, when we got this deal signed, one of the first things me and Daryl said was we should do a show from there. And that was one of the first things we talked about when on the phone about when we got this deal done. And we made it a reality this week. And I got some photos that I'm going to pull up here, but I want to give both of you guys the chance to talk about it. It went beyond over my expectations when it came to crowd and the energy and the environment. We were all worried about when if there's dead air, when if people don't have a response, but man, the energy from people that knew us to the people that didn't know us. There was people that I talked to that were about to leave Bigsy's around that 7:00 time, and then we got going, and they stuck around. And one of those people won a pair of Pacer tickets as well. Daryl, you helped really put this event together. Talk about this event from your perspective and how you felt it went overall, and then obviously Ramon will give you the chance to speak as well.
It matters, man. We've been talking about this thing for a while. We've had some fun. We clown the show. We cut up all those wonderful things, right? But this is real serious, right? And I was talking my boy Reggie, like, man, lighten up. I can't lighten up when it's business because it's just that important. We had a lot of responsibility last night to a lot of people to do right for a lot of things, and it went off without a hitch. You're looking at the pictures there. We had great time. We had great energy, great participation. My family was there. Obviously, your family was there. We had friends there, people that, Ramon and I've been, chopping it up with for years, came out to support the Game Time Network. And that's what matters, man. This thing is just the beginning. And I'm just happy that we were able to get that there. Keep that picture up there, right? I like that one. That's what's up. That's the 3 horsemen right there, right? We got Ric Flair. We've got
Arn Anderson.
We have 3 horsemen, not the 4, 3 horsemen. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, right? Those of y'all who are wrestling fans know what I'm talking about. Those of y'all that don't, you have no damn idea. So we're the 3 horsemen, and but good time last night. Lots of hugs, lots of high fives, man. And I think everybody who participated in what we did last night. So big ups to the whole crew.
And Daryl, real quick before we give it over to Ramon, I want you to talk about this young lady right here and how she has helped our show as well.
That's my girl, man. That's Anya. She is the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to our gear. She gets these t-shirts and hoodies done. We've got 4 colors on our shirts, just so you all know. It's 4 colors on every Game Time Network shirt. And if you just go out and take a look and see what the prices are on that, yeah, she's blowing you away. If you want some good gear, if you want some good signage on good material, my girl Anya is all in 100%. She did a great job for us. And just so happens, she's my second oldest granddaughter's mom. So there's a little bit of extra love there. But I'm going to tell you, man, she's been excellent for us 100%. And we got some other good things going on. I think, as a matter of fact, she tied in with Brandon at Crossroads. She's doing some things there. And also she's going to be doing some things for Big Z's as well also. So us helping her helping us is working really well.
Yeah, Ramon, you were there, of course, obviously by the photos. Talk about the event last night from your perspective as well.
It was fun.
Yeah.
The end. No,
the man of many words. The man of
That's what my grandmother used to say that all the time. So I walk into the event, and initially I'm thrown back a little bit. I'm taken back a little bit, saying, "Wow, how are we gonna rock this crowd?
Yeah,
how are we gonna perform? How's the outcome gonna be?" Now, at no point was I ever in belief that we wouldn't rock the crowd. Just want to know how we was gonna rock the crowd.
Yeah.
And so we just got in there. We did what we do. We did what we do. The Game Time does, and just be authentic.
Yeah.
You got three guys or 4 guys with Reggie who have incredibly different personalities, views, beliefs, movements, but they all form together like Voltron. So you young cats don't know what Voltron is, but we all come together like Voltron, and we make this massive superhero called the Game Time Network. And I enjoyed it. My colleagues enjoyed it. Their families enjoyed it. But more importantly, everyone's sitting in in those chairs, having drinks, having food, watching the game. They enjoyed it. They interacted. They had conversations. We began relationships. So that was a great thing, and it was enjoyable. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again and take this show on the road to multiple different places.
Yeah, it was. It was such a good show. The crowd turnout was incredible. I do want to give a quick shout out to my dad's side of the family. We had a personal loss this week. My grandma, some grandkids in there and everything else. We had a personal loss, so we had some people in town. So it was nice to, have them come out and have a good time. I know it was very much needed, and I appreciate them coming out to support. I didn't want to say it at the show, but I do want to say it on here and give them a big thank you, because it has been a rough week for them. So I appreciate them coming out to support. It was such a good show. Real quick as well, I want to get this photo up of our Pacer ticket winners as well. The lady that you see over here on the right, she was one there. I know you remember. She was one of the last people to come up and enter the giveaway. She said, "Oh, I want to make sure I get in this," and she was one of the last ones to win it or get in. And she happened to win the car, or win a pair of Pacer tickets. So Reggie, I very much appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. And then the guy in the Colts jersey, he got a lot of the questions right, but we didn't pick him. But we made it his day. He won. Not only did he win the Pacer tickets, we had an extra Game Time Network T-shirt. I was like, I was like, what size? He said large. I was like, great, we have a large. Handed that out to him. It was an all good night, all around good night. I couldn't be more excited about the new audience that we brought in. We got about 15 new subscribers off that show alone. We wanted a little more, but 15 new subscribers. Some of them are very interested in the new racing show that we have, Side by Side. That show will come out usually on Tuesday or Wednesdays. We are going to try to lock in a Wednesday date going forward. And also, new upload time for all recorded videos will be now 7 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. We're going to do a later window because, 5 o'clock, people are still getting off work. They don't got to get home, take care of the kids, do what you got to do. 7 o'clock gives you a chance to settle, check your phone. Oh, there's a Game Time Network upload. All right, I got some time to watch it. So all new recorded content will now be going up at 7 o'clock p.m. going forward.
Hey, I gotta throw this out there, man. You didn't do it yet, and I don't want you to get chastised when you get off the show. Thanks to your mom, man. Your mom is the photographer of all photographers.
We didn't get a picture with her last night, so I don't have a picture.
She was on point in everything. Anytime we needed something done from a picture perspective, she was Johnny on the spot, man. So kudos to your mom. Great lady. Obviously, it's funny, tell the story. I met, Isaiah's mom in person when we first started the show. And she said, I was at a place where she works at, and she says, "Don't you do the Game Time podcast?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "You do it with my son."
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that story.
Man. Much love to your mom, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, she did a great job. She got all the photos that you see right here. It was such a great show. Really, really fun show. We are planning to do another one in June. So if you want to come back out, we are aiming for a late June date. It'll be a Saturday once again. We're going to try to make Saturdays the prime time Game Time Network slot over there at Bigsy's. So next late June is the next event we are aiming to do. Won't be Pacer tickets, but I promise you, when basketball season comes back around, we will have Pacer tickets once again.
Maybe not as many, because they're going to be a hell of a lot better than this year. So just understand that too. Just understand. I'm setting the tone here.
Ramon, don't make that face. They're going to win the East.
You gave away 3 pairs last time. What else we get? I'm going to give you 3 bags of popcorn.
Maybe next time we got to bring we got to get some like Pacer shirts and stuff too. Some Colt shirts, stuff like that. Maybe get some more. Maybe get some Indiana sports centric gear. A lot of people really like the Bigsy t-shirts as well. Yeah. The Bigsy gift cards went out without a hitch, but I love the support that we got for the Game Time Network merchandise. And I had people ask me, well, where can we go and order some Game Time Network merch? Well, I've got the website pulled up. I'm going to show you right now how you can go order this Game Time merch, because we had so many questions. Daryl said it to me after the show was over. I can't believe how many people asked us about merchandise. Well, if you need merch, you see we've got all these tabs right here. If you haven't subscribed, the button is right here. You click on that button, it takes you to the YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel. You can get to know us. The reason why Daryl loves his Pacers so much? Well, he's a season ticket holder. You can get some more info on Daryl and Reggie, or as I like to call them, Daryl Bayless and Reggie A. Smith, or Reggie A. Sykes is what I'll call them. But if you want to order merch, you go right down here. Game Time t-shirt, Game Time hoodie, Game Time sweatshirt. We have all the logos from the show. We actually need to add more logos since we have some new shows on deck now. But if you want the Game Time Live logo on the shirt, you can get that. If you just want the normal Game Time Network logo on a shirt or a hoodie, you can have that. You click on this. It will take you to all the designs that we have. Obviously, we got some that are out of date that we need to get fixed. We're going to be planning to update the website this week after the event. But you can get whatever logo you want. If you want Game Time Live, if you want Game Time Network, if you want the best logo from the show, you can definitely get the best one, because me personally, I think that's the best one we've got. But we've got plenty of good options for you.
It's going to be a low seller.
So please make sure to check out our website and order all the merch. Folks, we're done gloating about ourselves.
We said 15 minutes. We're a minute under, so we're good.
There we go. We're going to go ahead and get into it. I see Reggie's over here talking about Purdue. You guys miss it, man. I wear my Purdue merch all the time to work. I mean, I'm always
before we get into
Purdue. Go ahead.
Get into it. I want to send a shout out to the young lady who came in, who used to work for DCOT. I'm telling you, she watches the show because she comes up to me and she says, "Hey, I enjoy when you talk about you want to speak about competition cheer because of your grandchild, and you want to talk about boys volleyball." So I was like, "Okay, you listen," because I only throw that in every now and then.
Yeah,
so I know you were listening. So big ups to you for real.
And thank you. And that could be the same lady.
I've known Angel for over 30 years now. Multiple jobs we were at. One of my best employees I've ever had. Honesty, integrity, and takes the high roads, and very sharp, by the way. So yeah, So big ups to Angel.
And I think that is the same lady that told me I was ready for your Kevin Durant question that Daryl told me nobody would pay attention to.
The only reason why
she was
ready. The show.
She was ready. That was the point.
Hey,
that was a freebie for anyone that didn't know sports. But he was like, man, nobody cares about that, so I didn't do it. But I had plans to do it. But next time next time we're just gonna give her a shirt, or we're gonna get her a shirt.
She's gonna get one anyway because
she's gonna get one.
Because when we're sitting there talking, she's like, I really had that answer ready, and I know. And she said, no one else would have got it, and she's right about that too.
Nobody else would have got it. Nobody else would have got it.
Angel, if you're on, I don't know if she's on it now. She probably is. If you're on, Angel, I assure you, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you and your children some game time.
There she is. There she is. Awesome. Angel, shout out to you. Another shout out to Corey, who couldn't make it because he doesn't live in state, but Corey watches the show all the time. So a big shout out to Corey as well. He was supporting us from afar from last night. So thank you to Corey as well for supporting us on that front.
And then you got the troll over here still telling me I don't have a damn job.
All right, we're done gloating. It's time to get into it. We are going to start off the show in the only way we know how. So I'll be right back. It wouldn't be a Game Time Live or Game Time Network show if I didn't pull out my Lakers jersey, because, man, the first time I walk into the building and Brandon, Reggie, and Daryl are there, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, your Lakers are done. They're out of the first round. It's over. It's over. It's over."
I didn't say that.
Okay, yeah, you didn't say that.
I didn't know. That was the haters.
Daryl was laser focused on the show, which I appreciate. But Brandon and Reggie couldn't wait to tell me about the injury to Austin Reeves and the injuries to Luka Doncic and how we're going to lose in the first round and how I'm so devastated. I mean, before we even had the show on Saturday, I call Ramon and I say, "Hey, man, just want to make sure you're going to be there. It's going to be a great night." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, you're going to be there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I be there? I mean, you call me the facilitator of this show and whatever." And you're like, "Well, man, I thought you were going to be in therapy because of that ass whooping the Lakers took the Thunder a couple nights ago." So I want to let everybody know that I am okay. I am not upset about the Lakers and the injuries to Luka and AR. If anything, I'm happy. I'm feeling good. I told Daryl this over the phone, and I said, if they're not 100% come playoffs, let's just sit. Let's let them sit out, and we'll be back next year. Because LeBron's going to be off our books. We're going to have money to work with, and we're going to be good to go. Because it seems like LeBron's going to sign with Memphis in the offseason. So, we'll see. So it's not even that big of a deal. He's going to Memphis. So I'm excited to talk about the Lakers today.
Just trying to get me going.
I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts on the Lakers. It's the title of the video. Me and Daryl talked about it on the phone at nauseum. Ramon, we're going to get your thoughts, obviously. It's very clear to me, without these two guys, it's a first-round exit. Could LeBron be a superhero one more time in the first round? Maybe. I mean, there's always that chance, but he's 41. I'm not expecting that from him, and nobody else should be, right? There is people out there that are going to expect him to put on a Herculean performance and get him out of the first round, and if he doesn't, it's a stain on his legacy. He's 41 years old. If we're going to call this a stain on his legacy, that he gets out in the first round at 41 years old with the roster that we've been calling incompetent all year long, well, now we're just being hypocritical at that point. We know this roster has flaws. We know it's an offensive powerhouse, but he's not the offensive powerhouse driving this ship. If anything, he's been more help on the defensive side of the ball than he has on the offensive side of the ball. So that's where I stand at this point. If Doncic and Austin Reeves aren't healthy, don't let them play in the playoffs. I got to go shut the kennel up. I want to hear your guys' thoughts, though.
We got to get a 10-second who let the dogs out. I'm just telling you. Anyway, but to the Lakers, in my perspective, I didn't know what happened to Reeves. I don't know how he got injured or whatever like that, right? But to that point, yeah, if they don't have Reeves, if they don't have Luka, yeah, they don't have a chance, right? And getting out of the first round, even in the West, even with LeBron in the West, I'm not even sure they can get out of the first round. And you say, okay, he has a Herculean effort, but they don't get out of first round. And they say, some people say, it's his legacy. Man, that man's legacy is in concrete, stone, acrylic, or whatever you want to tell. His legacy is done from a basketball perspective. He's going to go down as a top 3 of all-time player in the history of the game. He's the all-time leading scorer. I don't think anyone's going to get that record. And here's why I say that. Guys are coming in, there's more guys playing now. There's more and more talk about a shortened season, and these lazy-minded people are probably going to get what they want. And I wouldn't be surprised in another 5, 6, 7 years that is a 72-game season. Well, that's knocking 10 more games off as you have, right? So I think his legacy is intact on the court, and there's nothing that can tarnish it at this point on the court. Nothing. Legacy cemented.
Ramon?
These injuries to the Lakers players, the only thing they did was they moved the flight date to Cancun a little bit closer. So
I want to go Cancun.
You take your vacation 7 to 10 days earlier than you were going to take the vacation. The end. We talking a lot about it, but they were going on vacation. So, you either go in the beginning of April the beginning of when the playoffs start and
15th,
late April.
15th, I think.
Yeah, you either go in like the end of April or the 1st of May. You're going on vacation, bro. Yeah. So now, it just depends on when your plane take off. When your frequent flyer miles going to start back up because you're going on vacation, man. What's the temperature? Is it better in the end of April or beginning of May? Them are the things that you got to talk about right now. Tell your wife or your woman or your side chick to hop on the internet, get some matching outfits for us or whatever we do, because you're going on vacation. They wasn't getting past the second round. Now they may not get past the first round. Now, on the flip side to that, the thing that we do not want, me personally, if somehow those guys continue to be injured and LeBron has one of those efforts that hurt you. I'm a Bron hater. No, I'm not a Bron hater. I am a truther, as my young
that was decon,
as my youngest kid would say. All right. if Bron has one of those flashbacks and he messes around and gets them to the conference championship, man, we will never hear the end of it, man. It will, be the biggest story forever. We'll be 100 years old watching new people play. They're like, yo, remember that time when LeBron and everybody on the whole team was hurt and him and Bronny played 2-on-5? And dude, so I'm hoping that they go ahead and get this done quick, exit, and we be done with it. We can move on to the real basketball. Now, Koch, you did say something that I want to talk about because I hear it all the time. They talk about that these guys will never, some records will never be broken, like the all-time scoring record that LeBron has now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We said the same thing about Kareem, that we didn't think that was ever going to be broken. Every time we say a record is never going to be broken, at some point it gets broken. So I don't know if we will see it from here, but Isaiah, you young, you may see it, but us old guys may have to see it from another place. It's gonna get broke, man. It's gonna get broke.
Yeah. That's a tough one, man. But you're right, though. You're right. Every time you've said it's not going to happen, it happened, right? But it just feels like in this mode of it, he's adding to it. He's going to play another season, right? Which would be another couple thousand points as well. 22 seasons at the way he takes care of his body. He is the standard from a physicality perspective, man.
Oh, no
He's
doubt.
a specimen of think about the time he's missed time over the last 5 years with injuries for a lot of time. And he's continued. He's bounced back every time. And again, I'm not a Bron fan. Everybody knows it, but I'm not a Bron hater. But the guy on the court, man, he is a specimen, man. But you're right. Maybe Darius Acuff Jr. or maybe my man DJ AJ DeBonza will come in another 25 years. You say, man, he's 1,000 away from LeBron scoring.
Somebody who ain't even born yet could come in and break it. Was LeBron born when Kareem ended his career?
No.
Let's see. He's 41, so that would have been
so.
95. Yeah, no. Kareem's career ended, I want to say, in 91.
LeBron was born in 84.
So yeah, so he was 7 years old.
7 years old. So it could be like a middle school kid, elementary school kid.
Hey, you see how quick Isaiah answered that? LeBron was born in 84. He probably got a day of birth, height, weight. How much did he weigh when he was born? Isaiah.
Hospital,
Hold on.
doctor.
I'm not going to let this blasphemy happen. If you go, look, it's right. I just searched it, and then I went to Kareem. So
he was 7.5 pounds, 8 ounces.
The only fact that I do know, him and Curry were born at the same hospital. I do know that, not without searching it up. I just know that off the dome. But
not off the dome.
I don't want to. We don't got to spend too much time on it. I really agree with Ramon. But if Luka and they aren't healthy, or if they're not 100%. Just don't play them. I don't like. We all like. I know what this season was. I'm not gonna get on here and be unrealistic. I know what this season was. It was honestly, I don't know what it was. It just feels like a filler year. And if you bring LeBron back, you're just wasting another year of Luka's prime. If you bring Luka back prematurely in the first round and the injury gets worse, you're wasting another year of Luka's prime. You need to capitalize on his prime. Because at the end of the day, he brought a team to the NBA Finals. At least you know he can get you there. But now it's on management to build the right roster. Rob Pelinka, I already plastered it above your hedge board when you walk into your office. 3 and D. All you got to really do this offseason to do what you need to do. 3 and D. If you're going to let Austin Reeves and Luka be the 2 stars, that's fine. But that's barbecue chicken on the defensive side of the ball, so you really need to find some defensive guys for the 3, 4, and 5. So you need to get it done, or we're going to get shredded offensively by the Thunder going for the rest of eternity at this rate.
In my Ramon voice, though, they do have a fresh Bronny. So
all right. Well, speaking of one of the Brons, he may be going to Memphis for his last season. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. We're going to stay on the Laker train, but also not the Laker train. We're going to go ahead and go. We're gonna go from the West Coast over to the East Coast to the team that could be moving to the East, and maybe even the east of Tennessee, if everybody continues to talk about it. The Memphis Grizzlies. LeBron James, he was golfing and he talked about how the one place he doesn't really like going to is Memphis, and how if Memphis would have drafted him, he probably would have pulled an Eli Manning. And then I sent a clip earlier in the group chat today. That was put together by some editor. KD said he doesn't like being in Memphis. RJ Jefferson, the worst place to go to is Memphis. Derek White is saying, I hate the hotel in Memphis. So I want to, I don't really have an opinion, but I want to give 2 sides to the argument about this whole Memphis situation, right? Daryl talked about it at length on Cott's Corner. Please go check that out. He actually had someone from Memphis on the show as well. It was a really good watch. I advise you guys to go check that out after today's stream ends. But I want to talk about 2 sides of this argument, right? On one side, I don't agree with what LeBron said, and I don't agree with anyone that says that they need to be relocated. The only time we should be discussing this is when it's time to renegotiate the stadium, and if they're not going to renovate and stuff like that, then we can talk about, okay, maybe they move to Nashville, or maybe they get taken out of the state. That's when this needs to be talked about. I don't know what the contract is at the FedEx Forum, but they're probably still there for another couple of years. So until then, I don't want to hear about relocation. I understand why people would say Nashville, right? Because as we talked about yesterday at the Big Z's event, it is a growing market for the most part. But we're not going to talk about taking a team out of their city when it's not warranted. When you take something like that away from a city, that's so much money that goes into the infrastructure of that city that you're pulling away just because for whatever reasons or opinions you have. And as for the players talking about, Memphis this, Memphis that, I mean, we've said it on this show, right? A lot of them are just prima donnas. And if Memphis is the worst hotel and the worst this, then that's a pretty low bar for what is the worst and what is the best. Because I think that's a differing opinion. You ask the sports announcers in the NBA, Boston has the worst view for any away team that comes to broadcast in Boston for where they put them at. So people have their different opinions. I'm not mad at the opinion that LeBron gave. If If you don't want to be in Memphis, that's fine. There's plenty of players that have talked about, oh, if I would have got drafted here, I wouldn't have gone. Okay. I mean, everybody says that. I don't agree with what he said. There's certain parts where it's like, okay, that's your opinion. But I don't agree with people saying that the team needs to be moved out of Memphis. If you don't like Memphis, if you don't like going there and whatever, okay. I mean, you've traveled to Memphis how many times? You travel there 3-4 times a year if you're in the West, twice if you're in the East. You've been there 20-something years since you've been in the NBA that long. You have the right to your opinion, but don't talk about a team needs to move out of the city if, one, the stadium's bad and that's the reason, or second, the contract is up with that stadium. Other than that, this shouldn't have been a discussion about them moving to Nashville. Let's talk about this when their contract's up or they need renovations done to the building. From what Daryl tells me, it's Orlando that needs renovations, not Memphis. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Daryl, I'm gonna have you go last since you just did the top corner.
I've shared mine. I'm gonna let Ramon do his thing.
I'm gonna let Ramon go.
That was a moment of silence for Memphis.
Okay, explain.
Man, they killing Memphis, man. The NBA players are. I'm old enough to remember, and D-Cot is too, when a lot of NBA players was killing Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Yeah.
Hated it. You know what? There's certain places that people just don't want to go to, man. You know, my view is different because my pockets is different. You know, I'm a thousandaire, so my expectations are a little bit different than some people's expectations that are a millionaire or multi-millionaires or billionaires. You know, they expect a little bit different service, hospitality, temperament, whatever you want, vibe, whatever you call it. You know, but when you hear multiple NBA players talking about, hey, I don't like walking over to the stadium. Hey, the sheets are dirty. Hey, the hotel is bad. Hey, we got robbed coming back from the stadium or whatever they want to say. You know, those are things that, even though we don't want to hear out there, those are things that got to be discussed. Now, my question is, what is the NBA doing as far as having a conversation with the city of Memphis about, hey, what can we do to better the surrounding area, about building better hotels, maybe reach out to some hotels, maybe get some construction over there, some building over there, build that city up. Maybe we can have some joint ventures that can expand on the city, making all of our cities that we have NBA organizations in, you know, much, much better. You know, pointing the finger is one thing. Acknowledging it, talking about it, and then formulating a plan to build it, support it, to move in a different direction is something else. I have no problem with any of the players acknowledging the issues the city of Memphis has in correlation to their employment or their trips there, whatever you want to call it. The problem I do have is that no one is providing a solution.
Yep. And I agree.
And an immediate solution can't be pick up and move.
Yes.
You know, exhaust all solutions prior to leaving.
And that falls on the NBA, that falls on city officials, that falls on everyone that has a hand in making it better.
Let's back up a second. It does fall on all those things, but why doesn't it? It falls on LeBron James also because he's the biggest voice in sports.
Yeah.
So he, just like we're talking about this, just like Stephen A. talked about this, just like multiple people talked about this. When he speaks, he moves the pendulum, right? He moves the needle. All right. So if you can move the needle in podcasting, media, conversation, why can't you move the needle and upgrading the area around the Memphis Stadium?
Yeah.
Well, let me share with y'all how the setup is down in Memphis. So the FedEx Forum is right across the street from the West End, which is where majority of the NBA teams are. It is a walk across the street. So it's one block off of Beale Street. That street is blocked off. So when you leave out of the door at the West End Hotel, you may have 112 steps to get to the front door of FedEx Forum. If you got robbed as an NBA player walking from the West End to there, you need to talk to your team's security team, because that's a walk that I've made about 9 or 10 times, and I've come in on Beale Street, and no, I'm not a millionaire, no, I'm not a player. But if your team is getting robbed or you're getting robbed that way, there's something wrong with your team. There's nothing wrong with the city, because just like in every other city, there's crime, and a lot of times it's downtown. We talked about, these other cities. Orlando's Kia Center is right in the middle of a dump. The stadium is a dump and is a worse stadium than FedEx Forum. And I'm here to tell you that because I've been there. I was just there just recently in February. So it's funny how Memphis gets all this talk, right? It's poor Memphis. It's easy to pile on, right? But, from a statistical fact information, the city of Cleveland numerically is worse in every function than Memphis is. So my question is, why is LeBron James, again, this isn't Cleveland versus Memphis. These are just factful information. You all can Google it and challenge me. And then you come on Cops Corner and we can talk about it. But numerically, Cleveland, Ohio is a worse city out of 362,000 citizens versus about 600,000 with Memphis. Okay. The mean income, family income in Memphis is about 52,000, 37,000 for Cleveland. You want to talk about poor and tough challenges where to be at? You ever been to Cleveland, the Cleveland airport? You ever been there? Yeah, that they call Cleveland the mistake by the lake for a reason. And all I'm saying is, yes, Ramon is exactly right. Your opinion is your opinion. But when you start breaching it out and acting as though it's fact, because people listen to LeBron. People don't listen to D. Cott. He's just a regular, like Ramon said, a thousandaire. Yeah, so you don't mind listening to him. But when this man speaks, everybody listens. What he said on that golf course was not right from the perspective of just humanity. Secondly, it wasn't born of understanding. It was born just talking. And that's why I hit him with that, right? Everybody's known on this show as that off the field, that guy has been lights out. I'm taking all that shit back. Damn LeBron James and anything he's done off the court, because the city of Memphis has 67% African Americans. Okay. When he said, and then he had to go back and try to defend himself because he's a soft, sensitive human being. He said, I didn't say I don't like black people. Do you understand what you said when you said what you said about the city of Memphis? No, you don't. And just like my friend Ojinga Carr said on my show yesterday, you got to be educated on the facts. You can't just blurt stuff out when you have a forum and a platform. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying LeBron James is a bad human being. I'm not saying he's a bad father, any of that. But his statements were uneducated and untimely. That's all I'm saying. And then he doubled down trying to protect himself, saying, I didn't say I don't like black. No one said you said that. We said you weren't educated in your statement. And that's it. I didn't see anybody say, LeBron doesn't like black people. Didn't see that anywhere. He said that. And that's my take. And that's why I'm here in Memphis today. I'm on Beale Street right now. As y'all see, I'm going to go to BB King's restaurant right on the corner of Beale Street. It's a stone's throw from FedEx Forum. And I'm going to always represent Memphis, right? So with that said, be careful of what you speak on unless you got some statistical data to back it up in facts. So that's all I'm saying on that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole anymore. I've shared exactly what I feel, because I promise you, I don't like the I'm sorry. I don't like the Cleveland airport. I don't like the Indianapolis airport. I definitely don't like DFW. So we can go on. I don't like those either. So does that mean they're bad cities too? No. If you've ever been to LaGuardia, good luck.
Let me help everybody out, man. If you are an NBA player, right, and you are scared of walking across the street to the stadium, why don't you just have Ja escort you? You know he got his pistols on him.
He could always do that.
You safe. Ja got it going on, man. He got them things. He can walk across with you, protect you. You good. He even had the bazooka celebration he'll help you out with, man. All right, now we done.
Well,
I appreciate that, man. Putting a little bit of lightheartedness. That's important, right? We just hear reporting stuff, man.
He may not be in Memphis much longer. They'll probably be if they have the chance to dump his salary into that expansion draft. They will.
Per my guy Ojinga, it's a lock. Per my guy in Memphis, it's a lock. He's done. He put his house up for sale a couple of weeks ago. He's pretty much done.
Well, he'll have a great time in Miami. So I hope he enjoys the heat. He'll have a great
Miami, get that? Miami, the Heat. That's good. I like that.
He'll have a good time with Jerry Jones and the 83-point legend himself, Bam Adebayo, in Miami, where they'll probably miss the play-in next year. Let's go ahead and get into it. We've got more basketball talk on the way, but we want to have a little bit of hometown love here. I want to talk about this Eric Ebron, Andrew Luck situation, because man, I am Andrew Luck. I'm so glad you put out a statement, because man, I was ready to come on here and defend you like my life depended on it. And I still feel the way I do, right? We can call Luck a quitter. I'm not a Colts fan.
He quit.
I'm not a Colts fan. I am a Pacers fan, but I'm not a Colts fan. I was a Luck fan. And I do blame management for why he retired. No offensive line. They never chose to get him any help on the offensive line. And at some point, you're just like, do I want to keep playing this while I'm hurt, or do I just want to be done? And he chose to be done. Eric Ebron, I don't know what podcast it was on, but he was on with Shaquille Leonard. He made it seem like that Chris Ballard gave Andrew Luck an ultimatum. He didn't name Chris Ballard on the show. He just said, the guy that pulls the chains or whatever, statement that he used. He just stated that he gave Andrew Luck an ultimatum. Either, you get surgery or we move on. And he said Luck chose to move on. Now, Luck told a reporter, an Indianapolis reporter, I did the research. He works for Fox CBS, the news station here in Indy, Fox 59, basically, and CBS 4, since they're merged with news stations or whatever. And it's true. Luck put out a statement saying, he still supports Chris Ballard. What Ebron said is not true. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts on that. When me and Daryl first talked about it before Luck put out the statement, we were like, well, if Ebron is saying this, there's no way it's not true. Maybe, there could be so many things about this, right? Luck could just be saying this because, it could be true what Ebron said, and Luck's just, there's no need for me to make this even more messy. I'm just going to put out a statement. And you look at it, the Colts still paid Luck his money after he retired. So there's clearly no bad blood. Even if Luck and the Colts, Luck and Ballard, whatever, in that regard.
Because the owner made that decision. Ballard didn't make that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was Ursay. My apologies. If anything, Luck's probably got the most gripes with Ryan Grigson, who's not even there anymore, because Grigson was the guy that never got him an O-line. Ballard had 1 year with Andrew Luck, and then the next year he retired. So I think it is interesting. Everyone's really negative on Ballard in Indiana. I think the three men on this panel feel the same way as the state does about Ballard. But you take off the angry red glasses that everyone wears about Ballard. He had 1 year with Luck. So this story is a little murky after getting some context from Luck and kind of thinking it through. What are your guys' thoughts?
I don't know Eric Ebron. I don't know Andrew Luck.
Yep.
But the way this came out, I would expect, if I'm Andrew Luck, who's always taking the high road, he's never take the controversial road. I would expect him to say what he said if he didn't want that shine being taken away, right? So I expect that. I accept that. I don't. If Eric Ebron is lying, my thought initially was, why would he lie? There's no reason. Luck's been gone, 7, 8 years, however long many years it's been. I don't understand where this is coming from, right? Maybe it started with a conversation because Shaq Leonard was ex-coach. So that's why they tied in with Eric Ebron. They were teammates.
Yeah.
So with that said, there may have been conversation prior to that part where Eric Ebron started speaking, right? But we look from afar. They're right. Here are the facts. They didn't get him protected. He continued to get hurt. And he said, I remember when he quit, he was tired of having, to get surgery and rehab. He said that.
And Ebron said on the show, I think they both had like bone spurs or something at that point. That just
kind of ties in with what Eric Ebron said, is all I'm saying. He said himself, he was tired of being hurt. He was tired of being injured, tired of having a rehab. When he quit on the Colts, he said that then. So I don't think it's that big of news, to be quite frank. I'm just saying, I don't think it's that big of news.
We live in Indy. It's local. It's being talked about. So I did want to bring it up a little bit here. But this was the reporter, Mike Chappelle. He works for Fox 59.
He's the main news guy for the Colts, though. He's their guy.
Luck gave out a statement. He said, Chris and I have a wonderful partnership, especially through my decision to retire, and we remain close. Luck told Chappelle, any notion of internal pressures that influence my decision are without merit. Here's a quick quote from Ebron. He said, he, meaning Ballard, tells Andrew, you're either playing this year or we're moving on. Andrew Luck now says, I'm not going to be ready. I'm tired of playing with pain. I retire. So a lot of interesting back and forth. Ramon, your thoughts?
That's interesting. He said that either you're playing this year. They're saying that he said either you're playing this year or we're moving on.
Yeah.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah, a little.
I could definitely see that. And bingo. And I don't say that this is him moving him toward retirement, pushing him toward retirement. This is him saying, hey, look, my job could be on the line. I got to start winning. Well, I need a quarterback. Well, I need something. I need to make some kind of move to show that I'm trying to win. And if you can't play and I'm relying on somebody else, I got to make a move. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I can see the other hand of a quarterback saying, hey, look, I'm not going to be ready to play. You're not going to jeopardize my possible career, my health, my life after this game, just for a career move for you. So I can see, as in the words of my boy Scott Nichols, two things can be right or true.
Yes.
You know
and
so
as
they
we
can be interpreted two different ways.
And to help you, Ramon, there's a guy named RG3 who was hurt, who was asked to go out there and play with a brace on his knee, having a superb rookie year. Yep. So don't act like, I know, we got Goofy over here acting like, everybody's against the Colts.
Go ahead.
He went out there as a hurt player. He had nothing else to prove. The Washington Redskins at the time were not a Super Bowl contender. That ultimately put RG3's career in peril. Facts, not feelings, facts. And for us to say, oh, there's no way an honorable guy like Chris Ballard would say that, you're out your damn mind. You're looking through rose-colored glasses because we've already seen, and I'm just talking about RG, and it just so happens they were in the same draft, by the way.
Yes.
Same draft. So just be careful about supporting these organizations and all these things when you don't know all the things. But when we look on the court field, or playing surface, that's what RG3 did. He played himself into a situation where his career was derailed. That's a fact. That's not a feeling. That's a fact.
And I just want to say, Daryl's not the only one negative about the Colts.
I'm not negative. I'm factual. Damn the negativity. No. What am I saying that was negative of a feeling?
I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand the love fan affair that this organization has when you have two better organizations being run right now. The Fever were just in the conference finals. Pacers just went to the finals, and we're still talking about Daniel Jones and Alex Pierce getting paid. I don't want to talk about the Colts. I just don't. What is there to talk about with this organization? They can't find a quarterback. We've been on the quarterback carousel for about a decade. Why are we still talking about the Indianapolis Colts? They're the least relevant franchise right now, and we're still talking about, they'll find their way. They'll find their way. If Ballard is still there, we're not going to find our way. They're just not going to work. I'm over talking about the Colts and giving them pass after pass after pass after pass, because you know what I hear all the time when I work at Kroger? All I hear is, the Pacers suck again. Oh, the Pacers suck again. But then I hear people talk about the Colts and they say, we'll be back. We'll be back. Really? We'll be back? But the Pacers have a bad year after losing their star player. It just goes to show that this basketball town doesn't even pay attention to the NBA team that lost their star player in the finals, but we're still paying attention to the Colts? What are we doing?
Man,
it doesn't make sense to me.
You said
that, the Pacers suck. The Pacers suck. After they just got back to the finals, Tyrese goes down. You know what I've heard all year? I knew it was a one-year ruse. Clearly, you don't watch the Pacers, and you're the same guy telling me that the Colts are going to find their way. I don't want to hear that. And we're supposed to be a basketball state.
Man, when you said all I hear in Kroger, I thought you were going to say clean up at aisle 3. But
but it's just so. Why do we defend the Colts? Like this city defends the Colts so much. For just bad decision after bad decision. Like I bought into Carson Wentz a little bit because I said, okay, maybe he just needs a fresh slate. But since then, I mean, I haven't bought. I'm not buying into this anymore.
Let me tell you why Let me tell you why they defend the Colts, man.
Hey, Reggie feeling himself today, y'all.
Reggie, hey, Daryl's not here 1 week. I will be on Bias with the little truth. We'll nip this Colt stuff in the bud.
The reason they defend the Colts, man, is because the Colts are like the last team to win a championship in this city.
20 years ago, officially.
I'm just telling you, and they starving. They thirsty for it. They still live in their days.
The NFL is the biggest game in the country, right? That's why. This is absolutely a basketball state, 100%. But the NFL supersedes anything NBA. It just does.
It does.
And as a Pacer fan, I hate to say that, but it does. I'm NFL centric. When come July, y'all know how lit we were last July.
Yes,
we're gonna be just as lit like coming July, going through as I'm saying, Isaiah, through January.
Yes,
I'm talking about the WNBA.
We'll talk about the WNBA too, but that just goes to my point. The Fever and the Pacers over the course of the last 10 years have been more successful than the Colts have been in I don't know how long. Colts haven't been relevant since Andrew Luck. Right? Like let's just call it like it is. The Colts got to the AFC Championship, and then obviously Deflategate happens. And I admit I was so happy that the Colts got there. But other than that 1 year, what else have they done? What else have they truly done? This organization, I mean, and even then the Luck years are basically cut out because I'm talking about a 10-year span, 2016 to now. By 2016, Luck was having these injury issues, and Matt Hasselbeck was leading us to 8-8 seasons. So you take the course of 10 years, the Pacers lucked into a good season with Oladipo. The Fever were coming out of the Tamika Catchings era, and we're coming off a championship in 2012, by the way. And we're still trying to give the Colts a pass. No, I'm not giving the Colts a pass because then you pay Alex Pierce, who I don't think is better than Pittman, but everyone's telling me all of a sudden that Pierce is going to be eons better than Pittman now, and that Daniel Jones is going to be our guy. Seriously, he's coming off an Achilles injury, and we're betting on Daniel Jones. But then we've got people saying, "Oh, Anthony Richardson was never going to work out." Well, I wonder who those people are because they probably have a certain hat on that are saying that. So I just don't want to hear this about the Colts anymore. I'm over it. I'm tired of giving the Colts a pass. Over it. Calling it like it is.
Listen,
I'm
listen.
over it.
What you said.
I'm just like the Indy Fuel are better.
All we're doing is just talking about what we see, not how we feel.
I don't hate the Colts. It's just
and to your point, in the last 10 years, the Pacers and the Fever have been better organizations ran than the Indianapolis Colts. That's not, we hate the Colts. That's just a fact. That just because you don't win a title doesn't mean you're poorly ran. But if you won't have the playoffs in 7 years, and you got the same GM, and you've got 8 quarterbacks since Luck is retired who started for you, that says a little something. And we can feel how we want.
Look, this is always on my chair when we do the show. I don't hate the Colts. I want the Colts to be good. That's not what I'm. Could
that be what the dogs are barking at when they come in?
Maybe, I don't know, but I don't hate the Colts. I want the Colts to be better, but I'm tired of the passes that the city gives them for being mediocre. The same way I jumped on the Heat last week. It's about that. We're fine with mediocre. That most of the city seems to be fine with it, and then you've got real Colts fans, a lot of them that live in my house that say, "What are we doing?" Right? Same thing. What are we doing? But we're still giving Ballard a pass. We're giving the organization a pass. No, we're not giving them a pass because nobody gives the Pacers a pass. Every casual that I talk to seems to always give the Colts a pass, but with the Pacers, it's well, that was a one-hit wonder. Clearly, you were just there because you heard we got to the finals, and you weren't really caring about the games. But you care about the Colts so much. Okay. All right.
Hey, just so y'all know, me, Ramon, and Isaiah did not sit in the corner last night at Bigsy's and say, "Hey, here's what we're going to attack, and here's what we're not going to attack." Because we've made a show of disagreeing with each other. Listen, y'all seen since April of last year when me and Isaiah going about the Lakers trading and me and Ramon going in about college football and all. Y'all said we don't agree to agree on that. We want to disagree. But listen, But the facts have to overrun what we feel. And the facts are saying the Game Time Network is in absolute unison saying, damn the Colts, y'all ain't did nothing in 10 years, so stop with the excuses. Enough said.
No, I appreciate people supporting the Colts and riding for their team. I understand that defending your team. But as a fan of an organization or as a team, you got to call out what isn't working. You got to call out what's wrong and not give everything a pass. Now, I admit it. There's some things that you give a pass on because you think it could work. I understand that. But guys, we got to look in the mirror. It's been almost 10 years, and we still don't have a franchise quarterback on this organization. Like,
hey, man.
We got to call that out. But we're still continuing to give it a pass. That's my issue.
I just want to say that.
Defend your team. It's fine, but you can't. You got.
Hey, Reddy logged out on us, man. Reddy logged out on us.
Andrew
Come on back, Reddy.
Overrated.
What? I don't agree with that, but I've heard that. I've heard that sentiment as well.
Why my boy log out?
I've heard that. Overrated, man. I've heard that statement. I don't agree, but you know,
Andrew Luck is overrated, man.
I don't.
He's sitting up here talking about an overrated quarterback.
I don't agree with those.
I agree with Ramon. See, again, listen, I don't know what we put in them drinks last night.
I didn't drink. I didn't drink. But Ramon, boy, we got to the end of the show. Ramon couldn't keep his eyes open.
I was sleepy, man. It's time to go.
Because he had a 2-hour drive back to the west side. That's why.
Dude, I was ready to go. I was tired. I
So,
got home and fell right to sleep.
Ramon, when you say overrated, are you talking about his career or as a football player?
As a football player, overrated.
Interesting.
Now, listen to what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Was Andrew Luck good? Yes, he's a good football player. He's a good quarterback. Is he looked upon as a better talent than what he was? Yup. We look at Andrew Luck like he was one of the greats. Nah, he was one of the goods.
That rookie year, 11-5, getting into the playoffs was like, see, we got another Peyton Manning on deck. It just never materialized. Peyton Manning wouldn't have quit on the Colts. Peyton Manning wouldn't have quit. Remember neck injury? Potential. Hey, Ramon, remember that neck injury? This dude fought his ass off to get back.
Yeah.
They signed him to a deal, and then what they did, they couldn't keep players around him. So that's why he went to Denver. That dude did everything and cried like a baby trying to get himself back. Yeah. So Andrew Luck is no Peyton Manning, right? And by the way, Colts fans, Peyton Manning ain't walking through that door either.
Man, I think Andrew Luck is
good luck with Daniel Jones this year when he comes in after game 10.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's what we thought what we claim him to be.
And I want to give we've got a friend over there at the Colts that I just want to know we love and appreciate him, and Matt Taylor. But
hey, everybody loves Matt Taylor.
I love Matt.
But here's the deal, though. We got to talk what we have, right? We're not trying to troll the Colts. We're just talking about what we want to see. And I would imagine people that are in that building privately feel very similar in some ways. Maybe not in every way, but in some ways, I would imagine it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating because you hear people talk about the Pacers and people don't. I see Reggie's bat. He said we defend the Pacers. I don't. Man, I don't know.
That was early. He left.
We don't. I've worked in food. I work at Kroger right now. I don't hear anyone defend the Pacers unless like if you're a Pacers fan in this state, I feel like you know the Pacers. Like that's how I truly feel. Like if you're a Pacers fan, you know the Pacers. Like you know them. That's just how I feel. And a lot of people that don't know the Pacers are usually Colts fans. And I always hear them say, Pacers, that was a one-hit wonder. But I'm like, oh, they'll be bad next year. They'll probably win the East. They have a shot to win the East. And I'm like, no, they won't. They probably won't even make the playoffs. What? Like what? And then I say, oh, well, what about the Colts? And I'm like, oh yeah. I think we're, we were 8-1. I think we're gonna be right back where we were next year. Well, you just traded Michael.
That's what I hear too. We started off 8-1 until Daniel got hurt. Well,
you just traded Michael Pittman. You paid Alex Pierce, which I still think's an overpay, but I have people tell me, oh, Alex Pierce he's gonna be our wide receiver one. He's better than Pittman. Don't you worry. And then I hear Daniel Jones. I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury. I said it in the offseason. I would have taken Kyler Murray over a Daniel Jones coming off an Achilles injury because the one thing that made Daniel Jones successful, and Matt Taylor said it on our show, this is the best O-line he's going to have, and this is the best group of weapons he's going to have, which was true. But what helped them win games was he was able to escape the pocket when he can. Now, maybe Daniel Jones is working his butt off, and he's going to be the same player he was last year. And I hope so. I'm not hating on him. I want him to be successful. But as a guy that has seen Achilles injury happens in sports and everything else, you're sometimes just a step off when you come back, right? So that's my worry. So that's not me saying that I don't think Daniel Jones isn't a bad quarterback or this and that. It's what I know about this type of injury. And this type of injury limits your mobility as an athlete, depending on the sport you're playing. That's why I said I'd rather have Kyler Murray, because I think, they're both about here. Maybe Kyler's a little bit above him. I don't think it changes much.
Shorter.
Well, you take height. You take height out of the equation. I think abilities as a quarterback, they're maybe about here.
Hey, you know what? I have some belief that he will come back from the Achilles injury pretty good, and the reason being, I'm seeing a guy like Batman, aka Jason Tatum, come back and carry Boston.
That's the cup the cup that holds the straw of Jaylen Brown. Yeah. And the ice is Derek White, Pritchard.
Now we're on there. Yeah. So if he could come back and carry the Celtics, my man come back and carry the Colts.
Put my gloves on. Like I'm about to go. I done told y'all, and I done told y'all.
Oh my goodness.
Man. But modern medicine is great. The only issue I had with the deal with a quarterback coming back from Achilles, people are diving at your legs. That ain't happening in the NBA.
Yeah.
They're diving at your legs. They when you're running, they're trying to trip you up right on that Achilles. There's a little bit of a difference there. We'll find out.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to transition over to college basketball. I think let me check. Let me check my list before we leave this football conversation.
We're good. Let me get these back on, because we're going to college basketball next.
We do got college basketball to talk about. Let's hit the Final Four. But I don't want to talk about it too much, because the national championship isn't it tomorrow. So I don't want to hit it on it too long, because this segment is going to get out of date really quick. But I do want your guys' quick thoughts on last night's game. I'll give mine out real quick. UConn did what I expected them to do. They stayed ahead of Illinois all night. Illinois was very aggressive. They played a physical game. But Dan Hurley and that UConn team, they just got the job done. I was shocked how bad Michigan put a beating on Arizona, but props to Michigan fans on Twitter. They've been saying this team has been beating teams like this all year for the most part, from what they were saying. And then some of the box scores that I looked up, it seems like they've been beating teams pretty handedly like this all year, other than the Big Ten championship game. So props to Michigan. After watching those games last night, I'm leaning towards Michigan tomorrow night against UConn, but I ain't gonna question Dan Hurley the same way I didn't question him against Duke. Same way I didn't question him last night. I'm always never going to doubt Dan Hurley, so give me the Huskies tomorrow night. But if the Wolverines blow him out or whatever, I ain't going to be shocked. But, man, Dusty May, I agree with everybody in Indiana. He should have been a Hoosier, especially since this is his town. That's disappointing for sure.
Yeah, and when we did the Final Four picks, I think I picked, Michigan over Arizona and a squeaker. I didn't think they would outlast Arizona like they did. And the reason why I go back to the Big Ten championship game, I saw the way Purdue dismantled Michigan in every way. And I said, if this team, who doesn't have athletic horses, doing this to Michigan, they're going to get up against a team that's very similar in talent. They're going to get their butts handed to them. I was 100% wrong, not 99%, 100% wrong. And what I saw last night with Michigan and how they played was completely awesome, 100%. And I don't see anything stopping them. And I'm just going to say, I don't like Michigan, okay? I don't like Connecticut either. But I don't see Michigan not winning against UConn on Monday night. The way these dudes, they're like a hot knife running through butter right now. They haven't been touched all March Madness. And I see no reason why they won't be not touched again on Monday night. So give me Michigan. I don't give a damn if Lindenberg is 23 or 24. You still got to be good enough to play.
Yes.
So I don't give a damn. He's old. So But can he play? Yeah. But when he got hurt, guess what? They added to the league, by the way, just so y'all know.
Yeah.
When Lindenberg went out, that guy is 36 years old, as Coach Cal says, with 2 kids and a wife and all that.
Yeah.
When he went out, the score increased against Arizona.
Man,
Arizona have everything Arizona wanted to do through Core Pete, they took it, and Barrios, they took away from them. Everything that Arizona tried, they took away. And and again, Michigan was a better team. I'll leave it at this. I will say, it was awfully ironic that there was an announcement made on the Arizona coach signing a contract extension the week of Final Four. I thought that was pretty telling to me about him looking to go to North Carolina. The talk about him going to Carolina, I think there was more there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't as focused as he needed to be.
Yeah.
Because you're announcing a contract negotiation in the middle of the Final Four. You know, again, that didn't get him beat. What got him beat was that team in yellow last night. That's what got him beat. But it didn't help you being distracted as a coach, because everything they tried just didn't work. Yeah.
Man, oh man. I wonder who Ramon is picking on Monday night. I don't think the hat is a dead giveaway, but man, I wonder who he's picking on Monday.
Man, I'm not picking against Michigan because they're Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys know I've liked UConn. I've said it 100 times. I like their ball.
You're wrong. You didn't say you like them. You said you love them. You took on this show. You broke it down, and you absolutely you said they the way they went against non-conference teams, they come back. You've been the biggest Connecticut UConn proponent. 100%.
I've said it 100 times. This is why I like UConn. Like, non-conference teams have a hard time playing against their action. Like, you don't see it. Their sets look like Butler back in the day on steroids.
Yeah.
Much talent,
They're with much better talent. Their sets are incredible. Their action off the ball is incredible. Their movement is incredible. The triggers in their offense is incredible. You know, we can say we want to about Hurley. You know, that team plays on a string defensively, moves the ball offensively, knows exactly where they're going at all times with the ball. Mm-hmm. You know, I like that. I like that team. So, you know, I'm with UConn. Now, as far as that Michigan-Arizona game, that didn't surprise me at all, because I don't think Arizona was physical enough to play against a Michigan team. They had the horses and they got the skill guys, but I don't think they got the physicality. And you run up against a team like Michigan, who's big, physical, and skilled. Like, that's just a bad matchup. You know, you hear all the time that styles make matchups. Yeah, that was a bad matchup due to styles. You know, Purdue was a good matchup for Michigan, because Purdue is almost like a Michigan light. I'm not as skilled as you guys, but I'm big and I'm strong and I play tough ball, kind of like you. So I'll have a puncher's chance to beat you. But Arizona, I think if Michigan and Arizona played 10 times, it wouldn't be favorable for Arizona many of the times they played.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll be.
I can see that. You know, make a good point about the Purdue thing as well. It's like Purdue was a step ahead of Michigan in that game in every facet. And credit to Dusty May and seeing that happen in the Big Ten title game and saying, you know what, we got to make sure we take care of this business. So no, credit to Dusty May, Indiana's own. Hey, the great thing about it is Indiana's winning on Monday night. We got Dusty May. And we got my boy from Greenfield, the big shot. So Indiana's going to win one way or the other on Monday night. That's okay.
Because that revenue in the city going up.
What'd you say? It cut out a little.
That revenue that they're getting is incredible. Yeah, Indiana definitely winning.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of UConn, we go to the other side of the UConn campus to talk about the other coach for basketball in UConn. We're going to go over to, how do you say Gino's last name? I'm not going to.
Sore loser.
Okay. That's what we'll go to. I'm going to let the clip play. Audio's off. I got the audio off. We'll be all right.
Please be sure the
audio's off. I'm going to play this 30-second clip for maybe people that haven't seen it. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and watch the end of the game. I saw this on Twitter and I couldn't believe what I was watching at first. I was like, Gino's doing this? And Don was ready to throw bows. And this was after the Final Four. As you can see, Don Staley in South Carolina beating UConn 62-48. I think they'll probably win the national title. They're playing UCLA. I think South Carolina is going to win that and probably walk away with another national title. I think UConn won it last year with Beckers, right? If I'm correct. I don't remember for sure, but your guys' thoughts on that. I know we don't I'll start. I think it was just classless from Gino. This is a guy that, for me, I'm like, this is, we talk about Don and there's other great college basketball coaches in women's basketball, but this is one of the all-time greats. This could arguably be someone's greatest coach of all time in women's college basketball. But this is, we talk about stains on legacy, and I know we like to use that a lot with players like LeBron or Jordan or Tiger Woods or whoever. This is a stain on his legacy because there's so many times in the press conference where he contradicts himself, where he talks about his player's jersey getting ripped and the refs didn't call it.
That's a lie. That's called a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah, she ripped it herself. Then he talked about Don didn't shake his hand. There's videos of her shaking his hand before the game. Before the game, by the way. So it's just, this is a bad look. This is a really bad look on him. And I get it. You're mad about the officials and you're mad that your team didn't play well. But to those seniors on the team, Ozzie Fudd and everybody else on that team, that was their last game as a UConn Husky and representing you. And I can only imagine how they feel after how you acted as their head coach. It's very distasteful, especially for someone like Dawn, who is catching up to your legacy as a coach in women's college basketball. She is catching up to you guys. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think for sure. LeBron will beat KD.
What the hell? Who's that?
Oh my goodness. I don't know who this is.
We were talking about that. That was 28 minutes ago.
Well,
sleepyheads, whoever you are, we appreciate the support. You missed it.
LeBron will beat KD and the Houston Rockets in advance to the second round. It's a legacy matchup for LeBron. He won't lose. Okay.
Isaiah would love to hear that. Right?
I'd love to hear that. All right, KD gets out of the first round.
What channel is LeBron and KD playing one-on-one? Because the Lakers in Houston, that wouldn't be the same outcome.
I think he's talking. Yeah.
Let's flip this a little bit. Ramona said yesterday, he said, I got some stuff for y'all. And and my view is going to be a little different. You have the Dawn side. I think Ramon may have a different perspective, and I want to hear it.
Yeah,
y'all, we've talked about what we had, and I don't have a lot to offer it. What I think about Gino, but I want to hear Ramon. I really want to hear it because he had a gleam in his eyes last night. I don't know if that was because of the Miller Lights or what, but I want to hear it, man.
It may have been because of the orange juice with extra vitamin C in it, but I don't know if it was. All right, here's my thing, man. Here's my whole thing. In the words of our co-host Scott, I think it's a big nothing burger. All right. Now, I think it's incredibly bad sportsmanship.
Yep.
But fortunately or unfortunately, this isn't the first time for him or for coaches historically to have this type of argument. I remember when and when we talk about the black-white thing or the man-woman thing, I remember when Calipari almost got beat up by one of my favorite minority black basketball coaches. He came into the room and was like, I put my hands on you.
I'll kill you.
Yes. I didn't want to go there. I remember when my boy Woody did some crazy stuff at Ohio State. I can keep going on and on. What I do know, or I can tell you when Coach Ramon Stallings has had incidents with other head coaches. When I was coaching basketball, none football, all basketball. So I understand how this can get heated and how that face-to-face confrontation comes real quick and real close in that particular sport or in sports in general. I am not in any way condoning what he did. But I don't think it's as cut and dry as man, woman, black, white in a lot of cases. Some cases it is. Most cases it's competitors losing it.
Yep.
Really losing it. I've yet to see too many coaches who were not good, successful, not have incidents. You know what I'm saying? It's always the ones that are really good that get caught up in these type of messes. You know why? Because they're really good.
Yeah.
And their thought process is different. Their temperament is different, and their energy is different, and their arrogance is extremely different. We don't have these problems out of losing coaches, unfortunately or fortunately. Again, I am not in any way condoning what he did. And I'm glad that because I don't think he apologized on his own. I'm glad the institution made him apologize. I'm glad that Dawn handled it the way she did. I wish she wouldn't, as an administrator, I wish she wouldn't have said, "I will beat his ass."
Heat of the moment, just like Gino, right?
Yeah. And that's why I said, as an administrator,
Isaiah spit out his damn water. By the way, I saw it fly. I wish we're gonna go back to the video of that, and we're gonna replay it.
Oh my gosh! Because you know what? I saw when we were showing the clip, I saw her say that in the quote, and when I was explaining it, it almost got me. I can't walk.
Y'all see as an administrator, because I wear the hat as an athletic administrator. I said, as an administrator, I wish she wouldn't have said, "I'll beat his ass." But as a coach, I understand it.
Yeah.
And you get to that point sometimes, especially when someone challenges you in that manner. I think that there's so many different narratives change because that's what we do in the media. We change narratives to fit the agenda that will move the most people to our networks or our platforms. I think it was, and I think it was something that happens often. It's going to continue to happen. We're going to see this again, unfortunately. 2, I think that we got somehow try to curve it and stop it. 3, I don't think it was black or white or man or woman.
No.
But when it happens to a man or woman who is black and white, that's going to be attached to it.
Got to be spoken about. Got to be attached to it.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's unfortunate, 100% unfortunate. How do we stop it? I don't know if we can. I think we can try to control it. We can try to slow it down. But dude, these greats, and both of those coaches are greats.
Yes.
They're going to have some heated moments, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you make a lot of good points, man. My perspective on Gino the Loser is a little different, right? So I did a little bit of research on Gino the Loser, and the only 2 people that he's had type of altercations like that with women. Pat Summitt in the late 90s, right? I posted a 14-minute video of the history of Gino and Pat Summitt. Pat has made statements that Gino was cheating, and she made it private. ESPN, by the source of the Freedom of Public Information Act, were able to uncover that information and share it with Gino. Pat Summitt didn't make that information public. ESPN did. And ultimately, from that point, the relationship, after she made the statements about Gino, calling her the evil empire, calling her names, saying, "I don't want to play you anymore." And Gino made a statement about the reason why she didn't want to play me is because she's a passive-aggressive so-and-so. What Pat said was, "No, you're a bully, you're a cheat, and I don't want to play you." So that's what happened. So this isn't a one-off. The only 2 people Gino's had issues with that are public like this are women. That's a fact, not a feeling. The other part of that is this.
Okay, stop for a second. Stop for 1 second. We talking about fact. I'm just Googling. I'm trying to find out. I don't even see any college women, men, successful basketball coaches except Gino.
I get you. I understand. But
so you can only have, if there's only this in the barrel, I can only have conversations with that in the barrel.
What I'm saying, this is not the only person that's beat him. Men have beat him as well.
I understand what you're saying.
And It looks to me
it looks like it's women, but it's only women out there.
Well, I'm just saying what it is. So what I'm saying is I've seen this in my world of business when people love to attack someone who seems to be weaker. That's what I'm saying. And that weaker is because of there's something that you're not. And if you take a look, and I'm not going to bore people with the details of what Dawn Staley is doing for NIL and prior players for NIL, what Dawn Staley is doing is something that Gino Ariama, the loser, is not. She's showcasing the sport itself. It was 3 young ladies that are playing ball in Israel that she got out of there, right? It was made public, not by her, but by others. Dawn Staley is something that he wishes he was, a compassionate human being who has character. And I also posted another video earlier today with Diana Taurasi doing the same damn thing at that game that her coach did, being a classist loser. She's on the UConn sideline yelling at people. She's in the stands. Take your ass whooping like a leader and keep moving. There's a saying, you've said it, I've said it, and those of us who've coached anything said it. Win with dignity, lose with grace. He didn't do that because he didn't have to do what he did with Dawn after the game. They shook hands. She kicked his ass. They had 2 fouls called on him in the 3 fouls called on him in the first half. That's UConn. 3 fouls in 20 minutes. Secondly, or thirdly, or fourthly, maybe his own player tore her jersey. The South Carolina player didn't. He didn't go back and apologize for that, and he didn't apologize to Dawn Staley, the person, not the coach, the person. And what it says to me is, again, he's not the only asshole that does this, but what it says to me is he didn't like the fact that she's on the come up. She's taking shine away from him, and we've seen it. Her shine isn't just on the court though. That's the beauty of Dawn Staley. She's doing much more off the court than this man could even think of because he's an egotistical maniac who's a bully. He's the college female version. He and his crony over there at UConn, or the Bob Knight version of current lure. When you can't bully him, that's when you want to fight. But there was no fight. People saw his competitive nature. Bro, the game was over. What you competing with now? The game was over. It wasn't being played when it was zeros on the clock. So all I'm saying is be aware of what this young lady, Dawn Staley, is doing, black, white, pink, or blue. Look at what she's doing outside of basketball.
I mean, she almost had the next job. I mean,
I don't care about that. I'm talking about outside of basketball. She is something that he wishes he was. That's all I'm saying. Go to Dawn Staley and look at the lineage of what she's done outside of basketball. Saving those girls in Israel, working with the NCAA to have a post NIL payout for ex-players, doing things in the community that he's not capable of. That's the issue. This ain't got nothing to do with, well, it does have something to do with basketball, but the bigger issue is what's outside of basketball. It's not him. Just look, don't trust me. Go and look what she's doing.
I just don't agree with you. Hey, the trust. I know everything.
Listen, I love that. I love that you don't agree.
I already knew. I just don't agree with you.
And that's fair. But what I'm saying is this: I see it in her, and I don't see it in him.
Yeah.
You know, and she's an absolute winner. You see what she did with the Southern University players?
With those players, absolute winner. I'm talking about this
all those
situation
things
right here. I think every head coach in sports across football, basketball, baseball, whatever, the winners are all assholes. I've never met a non-asshole winner. Now, some are more assholes to the extent.
Yeah.
But they're all assholes. And you know what? It's part of that DNA that gets them where they are.
Yeah. You still got to have some class, though.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta have a mix of all of it.
I'm not saying it's the ultimate deal, right?
Belichick being an asshole. They talked about Bill Parcells being an asshole.
Got it.
They talked about Bobby Knight being an asshole. They talked about Woody being an asshole. They talked about Urban Meyer being an asshole. Your boy Nick Saban being an asshole.
Bullies, all those bullies. Those guys you just named have a bully gene as well too. And you're right again. But what I'm saying is, from a character perspective, if little mama number 2, if she's got an opportunity to play in college basketball, if it's Gino the loser or Dawn Staley, it's not even close for me. That's all. Because I want her to be taught as a young lady beyond this 4 years or 5 years she's playing college basketball.
But I think
that's a decom perspective.
I think we're mixing multiple different conversations together.
Yeah, that's how I usually do it. That's the ADHD. Yeah, that's probably
we mixing multiple conversations. You know, we're talking about.
Hey, I'm a stir fry guy, man. I'm a stir fry.
We're talking about recruiting our children. You know, there's a couple people that I would pick before Gino. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the other end, and I'm going to say this, you know, I would definitely look into Gino, and for one reason only. If the Black Mamba trusted Gino, I got to at least look and think about what's going on over there. Yeah. I may not agree. I may not see something. I may kick the tires and lift the hood and be like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Oh, you have a responsibility to your child to kick the tires. You're right. You got a responsibility to kick the tires. You're right about that.
If the Mamba said, I trust him with my baby girl, hey, let me at least go over here and see what's going on over here. But, you know, but if I had a list right now and I had a daughter or a granddaughter, I got a granddaughter, if she was playing basketball or old enough, you know, I'm looking at South Carolina. I'm looking at LSU because I like LSU. There's a couple places I'm looking at. Shoot, I'll be looking at old girl from Iowa if she was still there because I like her. Like, there's some people that I truly, truly like before Gino, but I would still look at Gino also.
Yeah, and you know, it's one.
Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying Gino's a loser when I say he's that's a person.
No, I'm talking about the person, and that's part of the recruiting process. You know, I think Gino, I've said it before, I think Gino's one of the biggest assholes in the world. As my grandmother would say, one of the biggest assholes God blew breath in. But, you know, I think that, you know, I guarantee you, if you poll, a parent told me this one time, all right? I coached her son in basketball in AAU, and I coached him in high school ball. And her husband, who's an executive at a big accounting firm, and she's extremely smart young lady. And they told me, it's like, man, we hated you coaching my son. Hated you 100%. We thought you were the biggest asshole in the world. You know, 3 or 4 years after, they loved me to death. They was like, man, we are so thankful. Son invited me, like, hey, coach, you got to come to my wedding. You know, I told him something one day. I was like, man, I'm so proud of you, the man you become. And he was saying, and this was exact words, something to the extent like, from anyone else, I would think that someone's blowing me smoke, but I know it's genuine coming from you, and I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. I was like, you know, we and I'm not a great coach like those guys. I think I'm a pretty good coach. I'm not a great coach like those guys, but that's that gene, that asshole, that bully, that, you know, you got to be able to. What you got to be able to do is tame it and temper it. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't think Gino does that well.
I was going to say, we agree he didn't tame it very well, right? He doesn't hide his frustration very well. And Corey makes a great point. Vic at Texas. Also, I posted that video when he's talking to his player on the sidelines after losing. And then I posted the press conference. There's a difference. There's a difference in these coaches, you know, losing and winning, right? Everybody's smiling when they're winning. Everybody's smiling when they lose.
I called a timeout just light into a player.
Yeah.
In football, I called a timeout just to give him the business about something he did to play before, and kind of brush me off. Timeout. We gonna have this publicly right now in this conversation. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? After the timeout, he went back out there, led the drive. We scored, sealed the game. Yep. You know. Sometimes those conversations, unfortunately, I hate that they get on film. I hate that they get on video. You know, sometimes you got to know where you are, know your audience, know who's in the stands, calm stuff down a little bit, have it behind closed doors. Sometimes you got to reflect and think about yourself and be like, hey, what type of coach are you? Are you screaming, yelling, and tearing down? Are you building up? Are you doing a combination of both? Are your cheers as loud as your criticism? You know what I'm saying? I think Gino's a winner, but I think he does have a lot of flaws that can be masked by winning. Yeah. You know, but this is something I guarantee you we will see something like this in the next 5 years again.
Yeah. Everybody, and everyone has flaws, and I mean, we're harping on this clip, this 30-second clip, and it obviously, we're covering it. But at the end of the day, we all know how good of a coach Gino is. Is it a bad look? Yes. Will people forget about it in a couple weeks? Yeah. Will people probably forget about it by the end of this week when more news drops about something else? Yes. Certain people will remember it. Women's college basketball fans will remember it. We will remember it. But at some point, it'll fade away, and we'll all move on to the next moment. But in the moment right now, yeah, I think we can all agree it is a bad look on Gino.
And shout out to Dawn. Shout out to Dawn because she got the best. She got the best revenge. She walked away with the dub.
Exactly.
Yes, and I'm pretty confident she walks out with another national championship. But we'll see. I think it's going on right now.
And for my last part of this, I just don't like people lying though. It's on camera. Cameras everywhere. Your ass lied.
Ramon, did you see the press conference?
When you do that, your credibility takes a big hit. And that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm not a South Carolina fan, but I follow Dawn, right? Man, she's an excellent. She seems like an excellent human being. And that's what you want leading our young people today. Look at this world around us. You want excellent people in the face of adversity, being people like that. And that's no dig on any other coach, including Gino the loser. But with that said, give me Dawn all day and twice on Sunday. And I hope she cuts down the next this season.
I didn't see the press conference because I really didn't care.
No, that's fair.
Don beat him. They had a confrontation. He was out of pocket. It happens. She got the ultimate victory. She beat him.
Yeah.
Go worry about this championship, girl, in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's just the coach in me. Like, next play, turn the page. I'm not thinking about that. Like, let's go get this. Let's go get this W.
That's a great point. We'll leave it there. We obviously wanted to discuss that. That was discussed all weekend. We are about to wrap this show up, but I do want to obviously give us a quick look at the standings. We're getting down to the final.
You love your damn standings. I tell you.
We're getting down to the final couple games. I want to pull up the draft lottery too.
Make sure you pull up Charlotte too.
Oh, baby, yeah! Let's pull that up real quick. Last week, I talked about it. I said stuff could get a little crazy. I watched the videos today to remember this. I literally said it could get as bad as the Raptors drop to 8 or the Raptors drop to the play-in and the Hornets jump up. Well, if you look at, I said, quote, the Hornets could jump to 8 by the time we're back here next week. They are now 8th. I talked about the Raptors dropping. Raptors are now only 1 game ahead of the 76ers and only 2 games ahead of the Hornets. And then you got the Magic right there. You got the overrated Miami Heat right there. Things are starting. I know my shooting and my efficiency has not been the best this year. The Falcons, the Chargers, this and that. But that's football. I'm okay to be wrong with football. I'll take my wrongs in football every day of the week because when we get to this sport, I know what I'm talking about. I've been confident in the Hornets all season long. We talked about the LaMelo trade stuff, and then we got to the second half of the year, and I said, hey, this team's rolling. I even got Daryl to come along a little bit and be like, you know what? This LaMelo kid ain't half bad. He keeps calling him the third option. That's okay. But hey,
he is the third option.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll let him have it because he's come around on LaMelo a little bit.
Yes. Hey, hand raised. You're right. I still don't believe he's a major winning player.
Yep.
But man, when you got better players around you, boy, you sure look a lot better, man. And Charlotte, they've been winning. And he's the conductor. He's the guy with the ball in his hands. He's a conductor. Give credit where credit's due.
And I give you credit because what did you say last year? For this team to be successful, he cannot be the point guard in leading them and having the most shots out of all point guards in the NBA. I think the last time we checked it, he was 11th or 12th.
12th. I think he's 12th now.
So he even took that step back in that regard. And you look at the Raptors, they've dropped down a spot. Atlanta jumps up to 5th as well. That's the other notable move looking at these standings. So, hey, man, everything that I said last week, it's not in full fruition just yet, but you're seeing those pieces start to shift a little bit. What are your guys' thoughts?
Atlanta, looking at this, because I know my Pistons, they're number 1 seed. Atlanta, when they got rid of Trae Young, all they did was drive. And
they got rid of Porzingis too.
Well, he wasn't playing anyway. He don't really.
But they got Kuminga. That's my point.
Right.
And we talked about Kuminga last week.
My next piece. And bringing Kuminga in, and you getting rid of Trae Young. That's stealing. That is absolutely stealing. I've said on this show, Atlanta's a place where careers going to die, brother. Trae Young's gone now, man. Atlanta is waking up. They're not alive. They're not a threat in the East. Got it right now.
Yes.
But if they can keep Kuminga and sign those young players, continue to grow, Atlanta, they could be they won't be better than the Pacers next year, but they could be a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah.
So kudos to Atlanta on this. Hey, sorry, Atlanta Hawks fans. I apologize for saying Atlanta's a place where careers going to die. Careers are alive now in Atlanta. And that's all I'm saying. Kudos. No, hey, I'm just being me. Kudos to the Atlanta Hawks and their front court and their front office.
Talk about it. I mean, the cover of the video that I uploaded, the 10-minute segment from Game Time Live, had the Hawks in the photo, the Hornets in the photo, and the Sixers. Both of those teams have moved up some, I think, 1 or 2 spots at the least from last week. Ramon, your thoughts on the movement in the East, and then we'll check the West real quick. I was
just waiting for you to scroll down so I could see where the Wizards are.
I knew it was coming.
You knew that was coming.
Take your shots. Go ahead. Yeah, they're down there in 15.
Oh, there they are. Yes, they're building culture. Okay, scroll.
Yeah, they're building culture. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I just want to see the Heat and the Magic in the play-in, right? Would they be in the play-in?
Yeah, they're in the play-in. Yeah.
Well, at this point, 7 and 8, 9.
So the way it'll work is 7 will play 8, and the winner of that gets the 7th seed. The loser of 7-8 plays the winner of 9 and 10. And then the winner of 9 and 10 plays the loser of 7 and 8. And then that person gets the 8 seed.
They could just get the top 8 teams and get all
this crap. It's so stupidly convoluted. I hate it.
That's ridiculous.
I would love to see in the play-in game the Hornets versus the Magic and see your bipolar, dysfunctional love for these two teams just explode.
You know what I'll do? I'm going to do one of these. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to kick my feet up like this, and I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to be like, man, we've got some great basketball on the TV, because then once the Jerry Jones team comes on the screen, I'm going to take my remote, and I'm going to go boop, and I'm going to turn it off. Because Tyrese Maxey is going to do, as the kids would say, belt to ass. That's what's going to happen to the Heat.
Tyrese Maxey is a bad dude, man. He is a bad dude.
Take a quote out of Ramon's book, as the kids would say, belt to ass. So
belt to ass,
that's what I'm hoping happens to the Heat. Hopefully. We'll see, though. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. We still got a couple games left. And, this time last year, if you were a sports betting fan, a lot of the star players were sitting out. Nah, not right now. If you're trying to get a certain spot based on matchups, Ramon, what did you – so I want to ask you, Ramon, real quick. You said last week for the Knicks, you would, if you're the Knicks, you want to be the 4 seed. Do you still feel that way as the 4 seed? Because I mean, Atlanta. I think Atlanta kind of is.
They're better off with the Raptors, in my opinion, man.
I think Atlanta gives them shades of Detroit in the first round, like last year, because the Hawks are a defensive team.
I don't think they lose to Atlanta or the Raptors, and I could be wrong.
I don't think they'd lose, but I think it would be another tough series like they had last year against Detroit.
I just don't want to play Boston. I don't want to play Boston.
Put the gate on the door, Isaiah. Put the gate on the door. The dogs are out. The dogs are out.
They like the podcast supposed to been over 5 minutes ago.
Hey, that's his dog track that he plays.
Like, don't have me coming in and bite you and go to their crib and bite.
Man, it's Easter. I think we got people coming in the door.
No, you good. But what we and then let's do the draft thing, and we can get on up out of here. I know you gotta go.
Ramon, I'm sorry. What'd you say about New York? You still think
I just don't want to play Boston.
Yeah.
In the second round.
Yeah. That's fair. We'll move over to the West. Lakers are still 3rd, but man, the Nuggets are gonna start gaining on them. Same thing with probably Houston and Minnesota. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, like I said, right? I think we're gonna slip. We'll see what happens, but there's not much to say about the West. Like I've said it all year, and people are like, well, that's not the case. No, it really is between two teams. Like maybe the Nuggets, maybe the Rockets, and maybe the Timberwolves. Like maybe they give them a fight. But let's we talked about the eye test. We've been talking about it all day. When it comes to the Colts, when it comes to the Pacers, when it comes to all these people and coaches and whatever, we've talked about the eye test. The eye test has told us all year in the West, it's the Spurs and it's the Thunder. There's nobody else. Maybe when we get to the playoffs, the Nuggets show their experience and they can get to the Western Conference Finals. But as it stands right now, from the records, from the performances, from everything else, it's clear that there's two teams out West and everybody else is fighting to get to the second round. And then at that point, it's David versus Goliath because, man, the only way you're beating the Spurs is their lack of playoff experience. But I'll tell you what, De'Aaron Fox needs to start ramping it up. He has not been that great on the second half of the season. I'd be worried if I was the Spurs on that front.
I think that the Lakers are going to drop to 4. Nuggets going to go to 3. And I think we're going to have a KD versus LeBron series in the first round, like one of the contributors said. I think it was Eli that said, if I remember right. But I'm of the different ilk though, with them only having the superstar LeBron and not having Luka and not having AR, with all the mess that the Rockets have gone through this season, all the drama, all the young and the restless. Can you see them, beating the Lakers in a first round series with those two guys out? Absolutely, I can. But they've got to do it. They just been a mess behind the scenes, and Reed Shepherd, I think, has been listening to you knocking for this last 8 months because Reed Shepherd's been on the tear the last 5 or 6 games. So maybe Reed Shepherd needs to subscribe because I think he's listening to you because you've been on him, and he went after that game they lost. He's been in another gear, scoring I think he's scoring 23 points a game over the last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah,
but he still can't chair though. By the way, he still can't guard the chair.
It'll be interesting. Ramon, your thoughts on the West? I get it. Nothing's really changed, and I think you're kind of in agreement. It's the two teams.
It's the same thing, man.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Maybe Denver gets hot and sneaks in and upsets somebody, but at best is a 3-team race.
I like it. Yeah. I like Nuggets versus the Wolves and Lakers versus the Rockets. I do
like that. Because the Wolves are going to give people trouble.
I like that setup.
The Wolves are going to give people trouble. I mean, like I said, man, depending on how the matchups shape up in the West, things could get crazy. But I'm telling you right now, to all my NBA casuals that are like, I'm not the biggest NBA fan, please watch the East first round. The East first round, I think, is going to be really, really entertaining. I think the Hornets could give either of these two teams some trouble. The Hawks seem to be they're going to be a thorn in people's side. If you're not a big NBA fan, you only come around for the playoffs, please watch the East. And if you're watching the West, we got to see how the matchups play out first before I tell you what games to watch in the West. Just don't watch the Spurs and the Thunder play whoever's going to be the 7th and 8th seed because it's not going to be close unless one of them has to play the Clippers. Other than that, that's all I really have there. Let's check over the draft lottery standings. I want to take a look at this. It seems, though, that the Pacers, at minimum, will finish 3rd or higher with the season end because they've got the little dash mark right here. Yeah. Sacramento and Utah are looking to swap spots. I am still of the belief as of April 5th, 2026, that Adam Silver and the Jazz have come to an agreement that they'll be the number 1 pick and get DeBonsa. Do your research on the DeBonsa and Utah stuff. It's pretty interesting, and it'll have a Netflix documentary in the next 30 years. But that's what I'm thinking right now. I don't think Washington will get a good pick. I think Adam Silver will drop them. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll see that they're trying to build a culture, and he gives them a top 3 pick. He's going to do Brooklyn dirty like he's done the last couple lotteries. He'll do the same to Sacramento. And like Ramon said a couple weeks ago, maybe Milwaukee jumps up into the top 5. They're in that sweet spot of 7 through 10 for somebody to jump. And keep an eye on that Atlanta pick too. With how well they're doing, and it feels obvious that the lottery's rigged, Adam Silver's definitely got some things up his sleeve for sure, I feel like.
Hey, scroll down just a little bit.
I got you. Hold on. I got you. Go ahead.
Take a look, right? We've talked about Memphis on the show. they've got 2 lottery picks coming up. They've got a center in Zach Eves, a young guy who's improving. They're going to get rid of Ja. They can make some hay with those 2 lottery picks, with the talent that's in this draft, and that first 14 picks. They make the right moves. They can be in a decent spot. So I like where they are from that perspective. But again, it means Ja has to go, right? You're not going to bring in my man from Arkansas, Acuff, if Ja's there. You're not going to do that.
I think Ja will be gone by the draft. If I'm Memphis, let's say they can't get to Acuff, I think Fleming's the guard from Houston. That's the guy you get. And then the second pick, I don't know. Maybe you use it on a forward. I don't know. Ramon, your thoughts on the lottery? What are you looking at? What are you thinking?
Man, I don't care about that lottery, man.
Fair enough.
Nah, it's in my history of the lottery, it never comes out like you think it's gonna come out.
Ever.
Yep.
Because it's like WWE.
Yeah, so it's almost like, why are we thinking? Why would I waste any of my intellectual capital?
This show ain't got no intellect. What the hell are you talking about? There's no intellect.
On the NBA lottery, when it never comes out the way it should come out.
Yeah.
It always comes out like, how did they get number 1? And how did they not get number 1?
Yep. Last year, it came out that Chicago was 1 pinball away from being the first overall pick, but instead it went to Dallas. It was 1 pinball away. Okay, sure it was.
Right.
Sure it was one pinball away. They weren't going to put Cooper Flagg in Chicago. Billy Donovan's about to take his way over to North Carolina.
With the first pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the
Utah Jazz,
AJ DeBonza.
I wish.
Mark the tape. Clip that.
I wish. Corey's in here being a negative Nancy. He doesn't think his Knicks are getting out of the second round. I don't know. I mean, they've got a shot.
Defense, brother. Defense. They got to pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't
know about
if the Knicks play the Celtics in the second round, man. It ain't happening, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd be very interesting because when the Knicks handled them last year, that'd be really interesting to see Boston have a little bit of get back.
The Knicks versus the cup and the straw. It'd be interesting for sure.
Yep. Batman and little guy.
The cup and the straw and the ice cubes.
I tell you what, Tatum has no chance in being a NASA employee like my man Jaylen Brown does. Man, I'm just gonna tell you that.
Man, when it's gonna be real funny if the Celtics lose in the first round. This show is going to be
if they lose in the first round because of that one guy.
Wow. We're
you know what? We're gonna have to have a segment for that one.
Corey said the Spurs Nuggets game yesterday. Man, if we get a Spurs Nuggets playoff series, I'm living in the house. I'm living in the house. I put in my vacation time at Kroger. I said, scratch that. I'm going to take it off the week of the Spurs.
You going to Cancun? What you saying? You going to Cancun?
I got to go through Charlotte, so I may pay my friend LaMelo Ball a visit and congratulate him on helping me. Making me look a little smart. Because when we get to football, all my credibility is going to go out the window. So, all right, folks, that is going to do it for this episode. Big thank you to everyone that showed out for the Bigsies event. It was such a great event. I appreciate everyone that came out. We all appreciate you guys for coming out. Real quick, before we go, once again, I want to show you guys, if you scroll down here on our website, by the way, GameTimeNetwork.org, if you scroll down and you want to buy some merch, we have some merch right here that you can pick, and you can pick the logo that you want applied to it. All of that merch is great quality. Thanks to Daryl and his niece.
No.
Niece?
Real Mama number 2's mom. She was almost my daughter-in-law, and okay. I still wish
Sorry.
Still wish
I didn't know. I didn't know which one it was. I took a little guess there, but it'll be interesting for sure. I'm sorry, I was reading this comment what Corey was saying. Yeah, we'll see how it goes for the Knicks. But thank you guys for all the support. Daryl, go ahead.
We didn't at the beginning of the show. We didn't thank Evan Wilson, our web engineer who puts all this together. He is a Warren Central graduate. He's at Ball State University right now. He couldn't make it out to the show yesterday, but we're chatting with him. He's going to do some updates for us on the page. But shout out to Evan Wilson. If you want website design, Evan Wilson's your guy. Scroll on down to the bottom. He has his name. I think his phone number's on there, or either his socials on there as well.
I'm gonna go to his website right here.
There you go. That's our
Yeah,
guy, Evan Wilson. Clip that shot. That's our guy right there. That's his hair too, by the way. That's his real hair.
Please go check out Evan Wilson. He's the one that helped us get the website made. Congratulations to all of our Pacer ticket raffle winners last night. Thank you to everyone that participated in trivia. Enjoy the t-shirts, the gift cards that we gave out. Big thank you to my co-hosts, Daryl and Ramon, obviously. Obviously we all worked really hard to get this to come together. We've got a bunch of content coming out this week. Daryl Bayless and Reggie A. Sykes will be back at it on Tuesday or Wednesday. We've got a new episode of Side by Side. We got a lot of new motorsports fans after last night, so we'll have that episode coming out in the middle of the week. There's actually not a lot of racing this week because of Easter, so we may have an episode this week, maybe not, but since we got some new fans, we may have to just do an episode to kind of give you guys that.
Love the hair, by the way. Love the hair, man.
Yeah, I think it looks good on me. I got my hair dyed a little Laker blonde, so we're good to go. But folks, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for all the love and support. We will see you guys. Our next live show will be Biased with a Little Truth, but we'll have content coming up all week long. That's gonna do it for the flagship show of the Game Time Network, Game Time Live. We'll see you next Sunday.